Hello Reds, it's Talking Reds Live from Liverpool City Centre from the Anfield Wrap. I'm Gareth Roberts, this is Craig Hannan, and yesterday we witnessed what is being dubbed the greatest day of knockout football ever. Magic Monday, people are calling it. Gary Lineker I saw put a tweet out saying, imagine you missed all that because you watched Love Island. Craig? Imagine not watching two games that went from 1-0 to 3-1 to 3-3, then into extra time. Amazing stuff, like quality entertainment, what we're in football for, crowds back in the stadium, all of that kind of thing. Would you rather watch that, or would you rather watch some blade sucking some other blade's toes? Craig?
That one. Oh, what a bell end, honestly. I mean me as well. To be fair, right, I watched the Spain game in its entirety, and it was brilliant. And then, yes, I did have Love Island on. I did tweet saying big soz to the Euros. I'm sure the Euros is fucking gutted, by the way. And to be fair, when Benzema did the touch and everyone was talking about it on Twitter, I got it on my phone, I did have it on my phone. I watched. I know what happened. I watched both. Dual screen, Robbo. Do you know what I mean? 2021. You can watch, earlobes getting sucked down. You can watch.
This is the little get out. This is just like when it all sort of tumbled down and it turned into what it turned into. It was like, how can I get away with this? Oh, I still watch the footy, honestly, on my phone. And,
I did. Do you know what? I should have just usually when I do a stupid tweet, I just quote tweet my own tweet and say, fucking delete this, you prick, or something, take the piss out of myself. But I wasn't having it. Do you know what? I love Love Island, and I am apologising to absolutely fucking no one on this video, apart from the Anfield Wrap, because I completely forgot that I was doing this video.
I mean, great work from the head of marketing. Tune in tomorrow for some real insight onto who got the toes sucked, at what time and for how long. Maybe a little bit on earlobes. I believe that was going on as well. I only know that because I bought the paper. I will not be watching that.
Yeah, dual screen, Robbo, dual screen.
That. Absolute vacuous bellends. I've got enough of them going on in and around my life to be fucking tuning in and watching them.
Come on. It was a belter, wasn't it? Like both of them.
Oh, unbelievable.
Like proper.
That's everything though, didn't it? I mean, from the bizarre own goal to a penalty save in the France game in normal time. I mean, to Mbappe, obviously the most talented player of his age in the world, really, and him having a bad night and it being him who misses the pen. It was non-stop. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely superb.
It was proper spectacle as well. The fact that the fans were in. I saw the meme of the Swiss fan where he looks just in complete devastation, despair, and then
his top's off.
And then after he's like screaming just like this, like proper febrile, like and that's what like everyone's in it for.
Big Shaq as well is through.
Big Shaq's through again. The Spain game as well was unbelievable. Morata finally getting an actual goal
as well.
An IRL goal, yeah. I'm made up for the Swiss as well. I'm made up for little Shaq, Big Shaq, whatever way you want to look at it. I think the thing about this Euros is it feels like everyone's just a bit shit. And that's what's making it so good, isn't it? Like,
it's really open, isn't it?
It's so open, and even the France game, when I was watching on my second screen, it didn't ever feel as if they had it in control. Like there was that 10-minute spell where they looked good, and that's when I was mostly watching Love Island, Robbo. But the last 10-15 minutes, as soon as Switzerland had scored, you were like,
oh mate, as well.
There's something in it.
You missed an absolutely brilliant bit of commentary as well by switching over. Like, we've all been buzzing off Clive, and there's a brilliant interview with Clive. There's a brilliant interview with Clive on the Anfield Wrap, so another reason to subscribe and get involved. Neil went and saw him, and them two together are superb. They really bounce off each other. Clive's got a new book out, so they talked about that amongst other things. But Clive, at the start of the second half, goes, I believe some people will be turning over to watch Love Island right now. Yeah, and he said, please stay with us. And then he just did this little dramatic pause and went, swipe right for Ali McCoist.
Really good, really good.
Fucking superb.
The two of them, we should actually get them on a show together.
Oh, they're amazing.
Because I mean,
Boss fellas.
McCoist has been brilliant. He's been like, I think we said it during the last World Cup when he did bits where
he'd be the best. Like if you said to me like, who would you most want to go for a pint with?
Oh, absolutely.
Ali McCoist.
Listen, his podcast with Jamie Carragher got me through the last bit of our walk that we did the other week. I kept it just from when I was really struggling and listened to him. Really, really good. Again, it just sounds like they're having a pint. It's over Zoom, but like he's having a laugh with them. But I mean, that's the thing I absolutely missed out on last night, because the two of them have just like lit it up. Really, I think like every game when I've sat down and seen it's the two of them, it's just made the whole thing better.
Enthusiasm, isn't it? Like, you know, it's not. Like there's other commentators and look how you can work out who I'm on about. I'm fed up with throwing people under the bus. But there's one commentator, you know, he's obviously done all the prep in the world, but he has like jokes that are ready to say in certain, you know, like, you know, cash-in checks and things like that, you know, when the Czech Republic scored and all that, and it's just like, I want it to be a bit more natural. I get that they do prep, you know, don't get me wrong, but like it's just the delivery of it feels a bit like, you know, overly prepared, you know, not off the cuff and not passionate. Whereas, you know, Clive and Ali they love it. They absolutely love it. And like, that's what football commentary, it should add something, do you know what I mean? And they add something to it.
I mean, I think when we're watching it sort of week in, week out in the Premier League and on Sky Sports at times, it feels a bit stale. I'm talking about Martin Tyler, I don't give a fuck. You know, it feels stale, like you say, rehearsed, and with the two of them, it's like they're bouncing off each other, do you know what I mean? They've got like real good chemistry, do you know, like no, but they, you know, there's emotion in it and there's excitement in it. Like Ali McCoist is like a kid in a sweet shop watching every single football match, and he even says it like numerous times, doesn't he? He's like, I'm just so glad to be here. And I mean, Tilsley is that, I know he's a friend of the Anfield Wrap, but like I've met him very briefly once. You know, he is the best commentator about, and like he soundtracks so many moments during my sort of childhood of watching through Istanbul. You know, he talks about that with his chat with Neil. But even like, you know, even in that interview as well, I still remember bits of his commentary in United games in '99, and like you don't like
Balmy night in Barcelona.
You know, at full speed ahead Barcelona, and you're like, fuck. But it's just so good. It's not, like I said, it's not rehearsed. It's in the moment, and that's what makes them. I mean, who gets the final? Who gets the next? I want to know who decides like what ITV gets and what BBC gets. Well, he's not night and day.
I know, but he's not the number one, is he, Tilsley? So even if it is on ITV,
it's Matterface, isn't it?
It'll be Matterface, yeah. Nah. Anyway, the Anfield Wrap's still cracking on with what the Anfield Wrap's doing all the way through, of course. So we've got the Gutter going through all the latest gossip. There's plenty of them kicking about. Go and have a listen to them if you subscribe, and go and subscribe and have a listen to them if you don't. You get me? If you want to see a clip of something that we do that is available to subscribers, well, here you go. This is a clip from Bedding In, where basically we go and sit in a boozer and have a chat as though we're in the boozer, because we are, about football. But people like it, it's nice, it's good, it's natural. Here's a clip from it.
Someone like Harvey Elliott, I think it's dead interesting, because you'll find out exactly what the club think of him in terms of what decisions they make this summer. So if he does go out on loan, maybe clubs thinking, well, maybe he just needs another 12 months. But if he keeps him in around the squad, that tells you a lot. That tells you that he thinks Harvey Elliott at some point
how many games he wants.
I think it's really difficult, Neil. Because I don't know enough about the lad to say whether he can affect football matches yet. And I think you only get to know that if you're working with him on a daily basis, or you start to see him in the first team. I can make wild predictions here based on what I've seen for the Championship club, but I think he's got 7 goals and 11 assists. I've got a mate in work who follows Blackburn. Thinks he's fucking brilliant. Thinks he's one of the best players he's seen at Ewood Park for years and years. But it's a level below. So you suddenly throw him in an intense atmosphere, and it's, I don't know, it's Old Trafford or it's at Man City. Different fucking kettle of fish.
Better than Morecambe's Patterson.
Two guy. What's his two guy?
I'd say what two guy. I'd like him to be into two guy. So Ian's a shithouse. How many games has he got?
I think he's got on loan, to be honest. I think if we signed an 18-year-old from a Championship club this summer, we wouldn't expect to play in 15 games next season. We'd be going, okay, we signed a kid from the Championship. That's all he's got. We ease him in at best, or we find somewhere. I'd find a reasonably good Premier League club who plays decent football, say. I mean, maybe like a Brighton, possibly even a Newcastle, because I think Leeds is it's a Bielsa basket case almost in respect of what he wants the players to do, and I don't think you can loan a player to Leeds, to be honest. But possibly even Newcastle as well, like a front three of Sam Maximan, him, and Callum Wilson. I think it'd be interesting for the three of them. And there's a pressure of the size of a club at Newcastle as well.
Yep.
Maybe not necessarily the best team in the world, but there's a thing that he's got to buy into, and I think we probably get more from sending him on loan to a Premier League team for 12 years than he would necessarily
12 months.
About.
But this is where,
don't let him over 12 years.
Some spell that.
This is where you've got to strike the balance, because I take that point, but if Newcastle find themselves in the bottom 3 after 6 games, is he playing an 18-year-old? Or is he going back to an experienced player? And all of a sudden, and Harvey Elliott...
Is, that's shit.
But Harvey Elliott might have done nothing wrong. He might have done all right, but then it comes down to a mentality thing. You think, well, crowds are back in, it's going to get a little bit on top. Is he ready for that? So the club have got a responsibility, and I mean Liverpool now, to make sure they get the right fit. And it may well be, hang on, we keep him around till January, and we have him training with us, and we might dip him in now and again, 10 minutes here as a sub. He plays the League Cup games. That might be right for his development now. And then in the second half of the season, but you think, right, okay, we're going to be all right without him. We don't need those 10, 15 minutes here and there. We'll send them out on loan. So that's the balance you've got to strike.
You could also do that the other way around them. You could send them out on loan for the first bit of the season, and then bring them back in January. There's options you can do. I don't. Whatever we decide to do with him, I don't think I'm going to think that I'm not going to be like outraged by it or think it's the wrong decision. I think there's loads you can do, and I'm really interested to see what they do with him. I think he's quite an interesting case.
All right, then. So there is a clip from the Bedding In show. Yeah, so as I say, if you fancy a bit more of that, subscribe to the Anfield Wrap, or if you're not ready yet to subscribe, but you're interested in subscribing, download the Anfield Wrap app. You get some free tokens, and you can go and watch the rest of that. You can choose some of the other premium content with some free tokens that you'll get when you download the app, and then you can decide from there. The Euros then, back to that. It's obviously now shaping up for the quarters. So we've got Belgium v Italy, we've got Switzerland v Spain, we've got Sweden or Ukraine against England or Germany, and Czech Republic against Denmark. Obviously there are, of course, sides to that draw as well. So, you know, it will be Sweden or Ukraine, England or Germany v Czech Republic or Denmark, and then the other side is Belgium or Italy v Switzerland or Spain. I think a lot of people would obviously expect France to go and win it again. That is now not the case. Who do you fancy?
I mean, the Italians have looked brilliant from the start, not just in how they've played and their performances, but like I've just loved how they celebrate at every goal. It just feels as if there's like a real sort of, and they've got a great manager, by the way, in Mancini.
Vialli coming legging out for that goal the other day.
Yeah, it was. You know, there seems to be like a real sort of like togetherness about the squad. Every time anyone scores, they're all in. So I mean, that's not big news. That's what everyone's been saying since the beginning. Italy, Belgium, quietly, I think. Like they've got Lukaku, who looks great. De Bruyne as well, obviously.
He's injured though, isn't he now?
Is he injured? I still think they have a big chance there. I think that this is England's best chance to win a tournament in God knows how long, isn't it? With the draw that they've got. And obviously Germany, but they're not the same Germany that we've been talking about over the last 10, 12 years. And if they get through that, like you said, their side of the draw looks very, very favourable. I still don't think they'll win it. Well,
of course, things are ramping up for tonight's game. It is England v Germany, 5 o'clock, 40-odd thousand at Wembley for that one. I've done my usual little thing that I do around these. If you watch these regularly, you'll know I do this. I go and buy a paper. I intended on getting the mirror, but the last one had mud all over it and I just didn't fancy it. I thought, nah, not having to do that. So I got the Star, and you know, we did the Star the other day, and it was funny the other day. It's quite funny again, to be honest with you. So this made me laugh. The headline here, when I can get it straight for you, bangers and match. Now you might be thinking, well, what the hell is that about? Well, what they've done is they've got their psychic seagull again.
No.
Sid. And psychic Sid, they put down a German worst and a traditional British banger or English banger, and whichever one it flew to and ate. You know, that obviously means that they'll win the match, and of course it went and ate the banger apparently. They've also got a chimp to go and pick up a flag, and it picked up the St. George's flag. And there was another one as well. What's the other one that they did? They did an alpaca. Also, it did something. It went and ate from a bucket. There you go. So 2 buckets, one with the German flag on and one with the English flag on. It went and ate from that. So that means England will. And Yuri Geller as well, of course.
Oh.
He said England will win and that we can all, open our minds and channel energy into their brains, onto the pitch and into the players and say, England win 3 times. Like Candyman.
There's a lot to take in there.
There is a lot to take in.
Did the chimp write this? First of all, that's my first question.
Chimp with a typewriter, yeah.
And I mean, did Yuri Geller really bend a spoon with his mind?
I mean, so he says. But he's a bit of a mad
He
fella.
gets trotted out.
There was one he did on the footy, wasn't he, once before, where he claimed to have influenced the result or whatever. But it was after sort of Sky Go and that had been introduced. So, he was obviously just paused there and went, what's going to happen now is this play. Do you know what I mean? And it was yeah, Yori, we can all do that now, lads. He's a mad fella, isn't he? But funny that he's still being trotted out in 2021.
Imagine being in the meeting in the morning, right? What we got today, lads? Well, we don't have much, but I've got an alpaca. I've got access to a chimp.
Yeah,
because I'm the chimp.
Got some sausages. Been to see Sid. He's up for it.
We'll make sure the bratwurst tastes disgusting or smells disgusting, and they'll all go for the English sausage.
Look at that, and Phil straight away bang into the paper roundup by Robbo here. Yes, lad. I mean, we'll go through some comments. As I say, if you think of why aren't they really talking about the Reds here, there hasn't been much happening. In fact, sorry, before we do go through the comments, one other thing. So not much has happened in terms of Liverpool the last day or so. No new real big links, and any big links that there have been, as I say, we'll talk about those on the gutter, so go and get involved with that. But what we have got to talk about is the fact that someone somewhere in the world of Everton Football Club got a bed sheet and wrote on it, "We know where you live, don't sign," and put it outside what they thought was Rafa's house in Caldy, and it wasn't Rafa's house. So it turns out you don't know where he lives, but don't sign. Or we sort of know where you live, don't sign.
The general area.
We think we know the postcode, don't sign. It doesn't quite have the same ring. I mean, fucking brilliant, though. I mean, that is among the most Everton things I've ever seen. And bizarrely as well, I mean, I'm going to do the thing that I always do about this. I hate it when we're tarred with the same brush over things. Even England fans, I'll always say, well, it's a sizable minority who act the bell end. On this one, I've seen plenty of Evertonians, to be fair, saying this is out of order. He's got a wife, he's got kids, and you don't want this shit going on. And actually, it seems to have sort of galvanised some support for him now among the Blue Brethren. But yeah, it's so hilarious. We know where you live, and it's not outside this house.
It's it just aligns with everything that you'd expect from them, doesn't it?
We know the Tesco you go to. Good one, mate.
They'd still stick out his dad Asda, wouldn't they? I mean, yeah, I saw a brilliant meme, and it was Les Dennis, Family Fortunes. His name that did Family Fortunes, wasn't it?
Oh, I see.
And he's got his arm around someone, and it's basically saying something places that Evertonians don't know. Benitez's house, Europe, and where the Arteta money is, and it was our survey says. I mean, it's shite. First of all, we'll have a laugh about it, but it's shite that it's sort of, again, it's one of those things that is a step too far and it goes beyond football. And like you say, I saw any of the Evertonians that I follow, which is few and far between these days, but any that I do follow, it sort of mentioned. I just loved when Andy Hunter tweeted about it, and I didn't know that they'd got the wrong house, and then it come up, and it was just, I was laughing my head off. But like I said, most seem to be sort of condemning it. And
I seen one. Look, I love Rafa, and I'm well on record for saying I love him and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure about him taking this job, but he's determined. He's digging in. If anyone's going to carry on and take it after all this, it is Rafa. He doesn't give a fuck, and he loves beef. But I seen one that did make me laugh from an Evertonian, where it said some of the abuse he's had over this is unbelievable. It's out of order. It said calling the fat cunt a cop-out is a step too far.
Do you know what? But they should just tweet. The tweets to Ancelotti a couple of weeks ago, where it was "You've caused murder here, lad." Did you see that?
No.
Just someone added Ancelotti and was just "You've caused murder here, lad," and I just loved it. It's hilarious.
He's gonna reply him, soz.
It's been retweeted thousands of times. It's just hilarious. But
Absolutely bananas, mad behaviour. Also mad though as well, like from Mashiri and the people behind Mashiri, that it's getting this reaction from a sizable number. You know, not everyone's lashing stuff on bed sheets, but there's plenty of, you know, opposition to the idea that he's their manager. Like, isn't there a point where you just go, like, jib it, we'll go and get someone else?
What I thought he was doing, because Jim White was one of the first to come out with it. Jim White's mates with Shaqiri, isn't he? And so Shaqiri. Tell you what, I'd love to see that. That'd be a good concept, wouldn't it?
Shaqiri and Jim White on the out.
Jim's got his orange, yellow fucking tie on. Mashiri, sorry. I thought he was putting it. I thought he was basically giving it to Jim White, and then Jim White sticking it out, and then them, basically putting the feelers out to see what the reaction would be. But it turns out he wasn't. He was fucking deadly serious about doing this. And it shows like a bit of a disconnect between, again, football ownership and fans on the ground, and that understanding of how they really feel. There'll be people around Mashiri that'll have been speaking to him and saying this is a bad, not least Ken Wright, you know, who will obviously be against this. Duncan Ferguson, and I love all the chat about, like, as long as he has to keep dunking, do you know what I mean? Like, keep dunking around like the fucking cheerleader. But it's I honestly thought he was just putting the feelers out to see what would come out of it. He's not. He really wanted him. And do you know what? The thing is, I think he'd do really well for them. And that's my worry if they do bring him in. But obviously it's not it's not an easy environment to come into with the hostility that he's already seen, and sort of, you know, intimidation of his family and a fucking bed sheet. I mean, I saw other Evertonians say banners are cop-out behaviour as well, which made me laugh. But
I mean, it's 11 years since he managed Liverpool. He's managed 6 clubs since then. You know, he's obviously confident that he can go and do something for them. They seem like they're going to dig in and give him it, despite, you know, some of the stick he's getting. I seen one fella laughably going, like, you know, like as though he was making this real serious point as well. He's a well-known scribe, is that the right word? He writes a lot in forums and on Twitter about Everton, let's just say that. And he put, like, you know, he really needs to, like, lose some weight if he wants to get our job, because, you know, he needs to show some professionalism. Like, he's not playing up front, lad. He's the manager. Do you know what I mean? What? And it was like, you know, are we going down the body shaming route now? Like, you know what I mean? It's just fucking wild behaviour. Like, he's a good manager. He's got a good track record. Who else do you think you're getting right now? Moyes doesn't want it. Do you know what I mean? Loads of other managers, you know, who were sounded out didn't want it. The Brighton manager didn't want it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, where else are you going to go? It seems your owner's determined to dig in. You know, you're going to have to crack on and back the manager. That's what fans normally do, isn't it?
It's wild. You know, you have the opportunity to get. I understand that there's that, you know, what he said about them, and you know, that obviously doesn't endear him to Evertonians. But if they sat and thought about it and looked at, because they're obviously not sure about any of the other managers, and like you look at Spurs, have Spurs done anything yet with getting a manager in? It doesn't seem to be.
Mad, innit?
Nobody seems to know what to do and who to go for.
46 days until the season starts.
It's crazy.
Nah.
But you've got a European Cup winner there. You've got someone who's won the Europa League twice. You know, he's won titles in Spain. Cup in Italy as well. You know, he's won things, and I mean, I've seen. I mean, the clip of Andy Gray, by the way, talking about it is absolute gold.
Lovely stuff.
You can see him just like, he looks as if he's about to combust, and Keys isn't having it either, because of course he fucking isn't, because he's a hairy dinosaur. That's what he is.
Yeah,
fucking hairy hands wading in, and you know. I think he was saying, what's he won in the last 12 years? He's won fucking more than Everton in the last 12 years. In the last 12 years, he's won a UEFA Cup, and he's won an Italian league, the Championship as well. Newcastle fans absolutely loved him, endeared themselves to them, and they were devastated to let him go. Oh, wild. Another day in the world of Everton.
Yeah, I was just seeing if there was any comments to mention here. Someone's put, if my manager doesn't have a six-pack, I'm not interested. Limpin' Monkey says Rafa's won more than them in the last 50 years. Someone says they want a Zidane and Big Dunk combo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the best.
Imagine them discussing their football careers.
Yeah, wild. Someone there says Everton's fans' expectations are way too high for where they are at this moment. Exactly, mate. And look, you know, the current regime as well, I've got this sort of, you know, track record now of hiring and firing. So, like, you know, that will come into any prospective manager's minds as well. And, you know, it is, you know, the ultimate irony, isn't it, that Moyes has gone, do you know what, I think I'm better suited staying at West Ham than going into that again. So, yeah, madness. We are, of course, sort of, as always, laughing from stage left at Everton. I think that'll do us. There's not loads more in there. There's a bit of tea chat with Carl Trotman, who is still to this day insisting that Lions tea is better than Barry's tea. It really isn't, Carl. Come on. Someone else is saying, I don't even know what that means. I'll leave that. Someone says Everton at Arsenal light. It says it all that Duncan Disorderly is held in such high regard. I kind of like him in a bizarre way. Like, you know, the little...
Who's this?
Duncan. Like, I don't think he should be like the manager or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but you know, like when he made that video for that lad,
amazing.
It was absolutely superb.
Really
I don't know if you've seen it the other week, but you know, some lad who's like slacking in school or whatever, and he's like, "Fucking sort it out." It's like, do you know what I mean? If you got that when you were in school, you'd be like, "Fuck shit, I best fucking knuckle down, Duncan."
If I went on my phone tomorrow and Duncan was on there and he's going, "Fucking pack in Love Island, will you? The Euros are on." I'd be like, "Oh, all right, Duncan, I will." Yeah, no, I even liked when they beat Chelsea. I mean, I didn't like that they beat Chelsea, but I liked watching him in the sidelines because it was it was like putting a fan on there. I loved the sweatband. I don't know what he was up to.
Kendall's watch and all that kind of stuff.
All sorts.
There was, you know, it was all like.
There's a niceness to it and a romanticism to it, and that's, you know, usually whenever it's not Everton, that's sort of what you're in football for. That's why we loved last night. It's you know, it's the unexpected happening, and yeah, big Dunk just getting sort of 3 points against Chelsea at Goodison's a huge moment for him. He seemed sound after it. I just like listening to him, but I'd worry if he was my club legend.
Right, we've got to go. Craig's got to get the St George's flag on his face, ready for 5 o'clock. It doesn't clash with Love Island tonight, so he can go and give it absolute beans. Put a sausage in your back garden for the seagull.
I'm the last fella in this office who's doing that.
That'll do us. Up the Reds, that's been talking Reds.
Up to Germans.